some practical advice on how to choose the best diet for you. How do you know what's actually true and false out there? Or if you have a plan that you're currently liking and you're on, how do you make sure you stick to it and don't get like enticed or manipulated by all the crazy stuff out there? So some cool practical advice today with you can take with you and make sure that you mentally stay on the right path here. So first things first, when it comes to deciding if a diet is right for you, or if there's some brand new magic weight loss secret that everybody talks about, because on the internet there's always something new that's popping up, and if it's like slightly intriguing you, how do we know if it's valid or not, right? Like, because as consumers, we need to be educated, we need to be smart, and as the masters of your own body, you need to be able to filter the truth and the lies. Just because we don't have space in our head for lies, we cannot fill up. Even with questions, we don't have room for silly questions in our brain. We need to be 100% committed and all in on what we choose, not be thinking about all the other options out there, right? Kind of like marriage. When we say I do, it means I do, right? We shouldn't be thinking about other people, right? So that's kind of the same idea here. So there's kind of two parts in how you decide if something is true, if something is a lie, if something's worth investing your time or not. And the first thing you do is ask yourself 3 questions, okay? So if you're looking at something or your friend's like, have you heard of this new diet? And you're like a little intrigued, ask yourself 3 questions, okay? Question number 1, what is your goal? Okay, lay it all out, bring it to the forefront of your mind. What's your goal, right? I want to be 130, whatever your goal is. I want to flatten my tummy. Then ask yourself, what is the one problem stopping me or slowing me down from my goal? Okay, that way we're starting to build this story, this base, this foundation. And then the next question you want to ask yourself, okay, is what are the habits that are keeping me stuck at my current weight? Okay, and just by asking those 3 questions, anytime you're questioning yourself or you're doubting yourself or you're intrigued, you're tempted or whatever, when you ask yourself those 3 questions, your goal is now in the forefront of your mind, and you now know, just really quickly, you kind of recapped, what are your problems, what do you need help fixing, right? So the target zones, right? Your problem and your habits. Now you know the problem, right? Or at least you've scratched the surface of the problem. So now that we've reminded ourselves of this, the next step is saying, is this thing speaking directly to me? Is this sounding like it was written and created just for me? Right? Because a lot of things out there, they use very generic and broad language, right? They say women. They don't say what type of women, what problems they're solving, what results they give, right? It's just they'll say women and weight loss, right? They won't say women in their 40s, women in their 20s, women suffering from menopause, women with hypothyroidism, right? If the thing you're being intrigued by doesn't speak to your soul and you don't read it and be like, oh my God, do they know me? Did they write this for me? If you don't get that feeling, then that's your first sign. Sweep it under the rug, keep doing what you're doing, or move on to the next thing. That is the very first sign. So if you've ever heard of something or a family member has brought up something to you and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, finish that thought, complete that thought cycle, because if we don't follow it, what happens is we're always going to have that, oh, that could be interesting in our brain, right? And we got to shut that down. We got to shut that down. We don't need to have that, right? So then look into it. Doesn't take a whole lot. Look into it, read a website, read some reviews, whatever. And if it doesn't speak to you and it doesn't say, we target X, Y, and Z, we give you this specific result, it's not speaking to you. If you're just intrigued because it's popular, it's the latest, greatest thing, or it works for somebody else, move on, close that chapter, and never revisit it again. I think this is so, so important because along your weight loss journey, there's a lot of identity shifts that need to happen as well. So you're closing the chapter on kind of every old version of yourself as you go through the journey, right? Same idea for all these little bits and little pieces of information that's going to pop up as we go. So you have to make sure that we close the chapter. And the only way to truly close a chapter on a specific fad diet, on a workout app, on these things that are coming at us from all directions and being marketed to us all the time, right? Like how many ads do you see a day on social media? It's nuts. The only way to put it out of your mind and truly be able to focus and find the right thing or keep doing the right thing is by following it, seeing if it speaks to you, okay? That's the first thing. And I can tell you 99% of the stuff out there will not speak to you. Now you hear what I'm saying, you're gonna go do it, and you're gonna be like, what are they saying? This sounds so generic. Like what, they didn't even say anything. They just use a lot of like hot buzzwords, right? They're like toning, melting, superfood, right? Belly burn. Like they'll just use these really, really, really hot words, right? So that's the first thing, ladies. Don't underestimate the ability to close a chapter and move on, okay? Now the next thing you have to do, okay, in order to close these chapters, not be manipulated, and become a master of your own body by knowing what you should be doing and being able to fully commit to it instead of kind of always being one foot out the door, is being honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You don't do this enough. What does this mean? So here's the deal. If you love carbs, if you're a carb fiend, if you love potatoes and rice and pizza and whatever, you probably shouldn't be doing keto, right? Nothing against keto, but let's be realistic here. If you enjoy carbs, it's not going to work out for you. It's just, you're going to crash and burn. It's not going to be fun, right? But in order to know that and not be pulled by it, because you see keto everywhere, keto this, keto that, oh my God, 100 pounds lost, right? It's enticing. It's everywhere. It's going to be on your mind. But you have to be honest with yourself to know that, sure, maybe it works for somebody else, but will it work for me? It takes a very strong and wise woman to say no to something as enticing as that whole marketing scheme, right? Nothing wrong with it. I'm not here bashing keto. I personally don't like it, but I just love carbs. That's why. And if you love carbs, right, that's something you stay away from. Same thing if you love socializing, like you are a social butterfly, multiple times a week, girls' nights, you throw parties, barbecues, whatever. Don't do something that's going to completely cut out your alcohol, because then you're going to be around it all the time and be tempted 24/7, right? Like, take some second thought. Don't jump on the latest, greatest, hottest thing because it sounds so good and there's like overwhelming evidence always being thrown at you, right? Does it make sense for you? You are unique. You are your own person. You are individual, right? And same thing, there's like calorie counting and macro counting out there as well, which again, nothing wrong with these things. I've got nothing against them, but if you're not someone who likes math, if you're not someone who likes having your phone on you all the time or pulling out apps and keeping track of things, then again, it's just not for you. And that's not a good thing, that's not a bad thing, it's just something that you need to know, right? And we never ask ourselves these questions. What we do is we say, did it work for lots of people? Okay, I'll give it a shot, right? That's why we get so intrigued and we get pulled off of track sometimes, pulled off our path. But be honest with yourself. Sit with yourself and be like, does that really make sense for who I am and my current habits? Not the dream lifestyle I wish I led, right? I wish I had a personal chef and a personal trainer and I could run 10 miles every day, right? That's the dream life. But you, where you are now, right? And that's okay. You have to come face to face with that. And I think it's just such an important thing to know, ladies, because I want you to be informed. Like, I don't want you being tricked anymore, right? Like, how many times have you been tricked by something with false promises? They overpromised and underdelivered. Like, how many times? It's frustrating, it's exhausting, it's demotivating. And this goes for like, not even just weight loss, just anything you're considering investing in, right? Anything in all areas. Like, inform yourself. Be very careful. These people and these industries, they're so good at tugging at your heartstrings, right? They get you emotional. They use buzzwords that you wish you can hear. They prey on your desperation and frustration. I don't want you to make these bad decisions and get stuck in a place where you think there's this like magical pill that's all of a sudden appeared, right? This magical fix. This is everything I've always been looking for. Does that happen? Does that happen? Is your, like, are you perfect? Is your spouse perfect? There's probably some flaws in both of us, right? Exactly. So there'll be flaws in everything. There's not one thing that will be 100% perfect, and that's just a red flag. That's just a red flag. And I'm so passionate about this because I struggled and had like a 15-year weight loss journey. And over 15 years, I wasted a lot of money. I wasted a lot of my time, like almost the full 15 years. But most importantly, I just lost hope in myself. I lost hope in myself, and I didn't pay attention to what I needed. I just paid attention to what I wanted. You know the difference? Our needs versus our wants, right? We ignore our needs because our wants are short term and they give us more temporary pleasure, right? And that's why we impulse buy things. We impulse, that's why at the grocery store, every checkout has a wall full of chocolate because they know we impulse buy. They know it. Even if we went into the grocery store, we stayed on the outside perimeter, we went all the health, fresh foods, we got everything we need. They try one more time at the checkout. And a lot of the time it works. But if you don't know why it's there, you don't stand a chance of actually resisting it. And I want you to resist it, because every time you resist something, you make your belief in yourself stronger, and then you feel more capable. I'm at a point right now in my fitness and health journey where I'm reaching goals and setting goals that scare me, that like make me uncomfortable. I'm like, and that actually make me question the goal. Like, is that realistic? And I have to stop myself from saying that, because anything is realistic. It's just impossible to me now because I can't be the person that reaches that goal. So I need to change who I am to get there. It has nothing to do with if I believe in it or not. It has everything to do with, did I set it? Do I believe in myself to be able to change to get there? Yes, regardless of if the goal seems far off or too big. It's a crazy, crazy thing when you're on the cusp of doing something you've never done before, and then reaching a point that you've never gotten before, and then having to set another goal after that. It's a crazy feeling having a goal C, D, E, F, G when you've been struggling with goal A for over a decade. It's a crazy feeling, and I want you to be able to get to your goal C, D, E, F, G faster than I did. And I want you to break through these huge like limiting beliefs and huge ceilings in our minds that you can't open a door and walk through. You literally have to smash the door down for this to work. And it only happens if you're informed and you're educated, because then you can block out the bullshit and focus on what's important. You find yourself scrambling and panicking and not sure what your next move is, or why is this not working? Why is that not working? What's going on? Why can't I keep doing this? Or I used to be so good. It's just a lack of focus on one thing. We're missing one thing. You just need one thing to dial into, and then all the noise can disappear. All the noise. The noise from yourself, the noise from your family and friends, the noise from all the advertisings you're going to hear, all the social media comparisons we do. It's just so important to protect your mind. Protect your mind. Don't be gullible because something sounds too good to be true, because we want it to be true so bad. Because a lot of the times when it is too good to be true, or it sounds too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true, right? And if I asked you that, you'd say, obviously. But in the moment, when our weakness is targeted and we're at our weakest moment and we're feeling vulnerable, we want to believe it so bad, so we do believe it. And we don't want to do that. You only need to believe in yourself. You don't even need to believe in your goal sometimes. That's what I'm starting to really feel. It's crazy. You don't need to believe in your goal. You just need to believe in yourself and that if you just keep working, something amazing is going to happen. And if you just keep working in a focused way, where you are blocking out everybody's bullshit as much as possible, because sometimes it'll seep through a little bit, but if you're blocking it out as much as possible, oh my God, it is so crazy and exciting what you're capable of. I can't even express how cool it is to be setting goals for myself that not even did I think I was going to reach it in 10 years. I never even contemplated this area before. And you can't even fathom it. It's so cool. And just fathoming it alone or trying to comprehend it levels me up and changes me before I've even taken one step towards the craziness, which is so cool. And again, in order for you to get to these levels, which you want to get to because it's total freedom, right? Like not being stuck to an identity and being able to form your own opinions and being able to stay true to yourself and be in tune with your needs, not just your wants, because your wants are important, but we can't just go after wants and neglect our needs. It's true freedom, because then you can navigate yourself anywhere in the world, in your family, in your weight loss, in your health, in your fitness, in your career, anywhere. But it starts with a firm grounding and belief in your ability to process things properly. I trust myself to form an educated opinion. That's what we're trying to do. I trust myself to be able to find a way. I trust myself to be able to get my focus back. You don't have to trust that you'll get the focus back. You have to trust that you yourself are capable of getting there. Sometimes you don't have to believe the goal. Sometimes it's hard, right? But you have to trust that you can actually achieve things if you just keep trying. And so I think it's really important, starting with just how much we're bombarded with media. Like there's ads everywhere. We get them in our emails, we get text messages, we get them on the sidebars of every single website. They're all over social media. They're everywhere you look, right? Even billboards on the streets, commercials. It's just everywhere. And it gets very fuzzy, and it clouds your judgment, and it gets you in this instant gratification of impulse thinking and impulse decisions. We make decisions because it will make us feel good. It will make our current self feel good, not our future self feel good. Because 1 week from now, you will be a product of the decisions you made today. So if 1 week from now you don't like where you're at, you can blame your 1 week ago self. That's how this shit piles on. It's not, I don't like who I am today, and it's because of what I did today. It's because of what you did last week. And if you don't like who you are right now this month, it's because last month you didn't prepare yourself for this month. Last month you didn't set yourself up for this month. Your actions compound over time. You have to make sure you make the right actions. And the only way you make sure you make the right actions is by making the right decisions. And the only way you make the right decisions is by knowing what your North Star is. What is your North Star? For Fit Queens, the North Star is the Golden Five. The Golden Five weight loss rules, right? Restore responsibility, pursue pain, face facts, repeat repetition, and burn bright. That's our North Star. Align your actions to be that person. You are that person. Say you're that person. And then it all snowballs. So think about, what do you want to think 1 week from now? How do you want to feel 1 week from now? Because it will only show up by what you do today. You don't have much control over where you end up a week from now on that day. You have the control leading up to that day. And where you are in 2022 is a result of where you were last year in 2021. What did you do throughout 2021 that got you to where you want to be, or that stopped you from where you want to be? Look at it like that. Look at the echo effect here. It's really crazy to think about. But it's really important to keep it at the top of your mind, ladies. So be informed, because the more informed you are, the better decisions you make. And only by making better decisions is how you trust yourself. That is it. You want to trust yourself more, you have to have some proof and evidence through, oh yeah, I actually made a good decision before, so I can trust myself to make another one. That's the only way you build true confidence, is by trying, sucking a little less, and then one day you don't suck, and you're like, oh cool, I got this. Until then, if you don't trust yourself, you're going to be screwed. So you got to be putting in the effort to trust yourself. So you can block out the BS and know your North Star, and not be pulled too far off from your path. Of course, we'll wander a little bit. You got to get back on your path.